Hey everybody, welcome back to the Readiness Channel. Preparedness people, stick with me a minute here. We're going to talk about something that's not just canned foods, emergency food supplies, and all that kind of stuff today. I want to share with you what I'm able to do on a very small lot and produce a lot of food for my family. I believe that homesteading skills are essential to any preparedness plan if you're looking at something in a long-term event. If we can get out of the mindset for just a minute that everything we deal with is going to be a quick, sudden, apocalyptic type event, then you begin to understand, I think, why it's important to look at self-sustaining skills like we're going to talk about today. There's been a shift over the last few years in these tutorials that you look at about my haul from Costco or Walmart today and that kind of stuff, and people love that. They love to watch those videos. I don't do them here because I figure everybody goes to the grocery store. You don't need to see what I'm buying. But it shows me that there is a fear and a insecurity about food, and that's what people seem to be most concerned about. Well, I would submit to you that the real way to prepare for that for the long term would to be have supplies in food stores. We talk about that all the time here. But I also think it's very important for you to start learning how to grow and do something in your yard if you can, that allows you to augment or have some surplus food supplies for you that aren't just coming out of a pantry or relying on a grocery store. Let's get started. This is the sunny side of my small lot, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through and give you a tour of what I do in this small yard. These are a couple of elderberry plants that we put in a few years ago. Some of you know that they have a lot of medicinal purposes that are being validated more and more by science all the time. I figured I would try growing some and see how that works out. This year during bare root season, I put in a couple of raspberry starts in these pots, and I did that because it'll help keep them from spreading and becoming a nuisance plant. This little container garden that I've set up here, and we did a video on this about a year ago, I can grow a tremendous amount of food out of this thing, and you'd be surprised what you can do with a small container garden like this. I left these 4 eggplant bushes from last year in these 2 pots just to see what would happen if they would come back, and they're starting to leaf out now. These 2 get a little less sun than the others, so they're a little bit behind. And we have some peppers and tomatoes and lettuce. What I do is I just pluck lettuce leaves off as I want and continue to let the head of lettuce grow. And you can have lettuce for a long time until the real hot weather kicks in. Got some tomatoes started. I've got some zucchini seeds in there that'll pop up pretty soon, and some other vegetables will be put in there real soon also. This right here is our blackberries. These are called triple crown. They're a vining type, so you have to have a trellis like this. We get pounds and pounds of blackberries off of these bushes every year. And in these tubs alone, this tub that we showed you already, we eat a lot of salads out of there. You can put a little chicken meat, some black beans, or whatever else you have and make a healthy meal. The zucchini and the peppers, the eggplant, we make eggplant parmesan and all kinds of stir-fried vegetable dishes we put with rice. The blackberries, obviously, we make jams. We eat them fresh. We also make syrup out of these things so that you can put on pancakes or waffles. A lot of people have pancake mixes and flour in their emergency food stores, but would you just like to eat a dry pancake all the time? Berries could come in real handy. Moving forward, I've got several blueberry plants in containers. We did a video about that as well, and why you need to plant them in containers, the soil requirements and so forth. This is a newer bush here, as well as this one. In time, they'll grow to be the size of these 2 here, and right now everything is just popping out with blossoms, and we're going to have a lot of blueberries this year off of these plants. There's another one in that container there. This is a dwarf nectarine tree. It'll get to be about 6 feet tall, and we get a lot of fruit off that tree as well. Moving forward, I have a semi-dwarf Meyer lemon. This thing allows us to make sauces, salad dressings, lemonade, and just all kinds of uses that you may not think about when you just think about a boring old lemon. But again, this is with the emphasis of growing food and being more self-sustaining on your property and the things that you can do. This is the Parfianca pomegranate that we put in last year. We covered that briefly in a video. This is a new plant, and I'm expecting to see some blossoms on this thing soon this year. Pomegranate jam, jellies, juice. It's all very tasty and very enjoyable. These blueberry bushes we eat fresh. We put them in oatmeal. We've made jams. We make desserts out of. The nectarine tree we eat fresh. We've also made nectarine jam. We did that for the first time last year, and it was absolutely outstanding. I've got 2 cherry tomatoes that I put in this year, just in these little, corners of some space I had, and you can see already how well they're starting to shape up. They're growing and flowering out right now. Cherry tomatoes are pretty much foolproof. We'll eat off of those things throughout the whole summer. With all the fruits and vegetables that we're able to grow in this yard in a very small space, you can see how important it is to begin picking up these skills. This little space right between the blueberries and the lemon tree I've made into a potato patch this year, and you can see some of them are starting to emerge from the ground now. We had a bag of leftover potatoes that started to sprout during the winter, so I just brought them out here and put them in the ground instead of throwing them away, and we'll get a lot of potatoes off that. We've covered in our bare root fruit tree video these semi-dwarf fruit trees. This is a semi-dwarf burgundy plum. You can't buy these things in the stores, at least that I've ever seen, and they're really one of the greatest pieces of fruit you'll ever have. We eat them fresh, and we make fruit leather with leftover blueberries and leftover plums. You can make jams and do all kinds of things with these as well, and these are just starting to come on right now. The blossoms have faded, and you can see little plums starting to form all over the tree. We get hundreds and hundreds of plums off of this one tree. This back bed we use for auxiliary purposes. My wife likes to plant flowers and things in it as well. We put some green onions in this little container here last year, and we've been eating off these things non-stop in our salads and other uses too. Strawberry plants are starting to come alive again. These are some seeds that I'm starting for cucumbers that we'll put into the tub garden when the colder season crops are finished. And of course we're going to make some pickles out of that and try jarring that stuff this year. This is our dwarf avocado tree, and I planted this because of the need for some type of a fat in your food sources out here. Nut trees would work as well. You'll have to find things that grow in your area, of course. We live in an area where the winters are very mild, and we can grow stuff pretty much year-round here. This is a simple herb garden that we started a few years ago. We've got rosemary, thyme, cilantro, basil, mint, all kinds of things growing in there, and you'd be surprised how much I come out and pull fresh herbs off of these things and use them for cooking foods right out of the prepper pantry, soups, all kinds of things. And lastly, for the fruit trees is this Fuyu persimmon. This is a great persimmon variety to grow. This thing gives us fruits all the way up until late fall, early winter, and those persimmon nut breads and cookies are delicious that time of year. This persimmon also can be eaten fresh like an apple right off the tree. It does not have to be ripened to a point of almost being mushy like some varieties do. And the purpose of this video is to just show you how much you can do in a small amount of space. We get a lot of yield off of this yard every year. It greatly enhances your emergency food storage plan and gives you food sources that you can rely on versus just hoping that you have enough rice and beans stashed away in a closet somewhere. So as you can see, on a lot that I think is around 6,000 square feet with a house taking up the bulk of that, we're able to do a lot of stuff for emergency preparedness. And the other benefits to this are this used to all just be grass, and with water being the problem that it is in my state, we were able to eliminate a lot of the just watering the lawn waste of that resource, and we put in drip irrigation on all of our trees and plants and containers, so our water bill went way down. We've got a lot of food coming into the mix now that we grow right in our yard. We can stretch our emergency supplies by some lettuce with some chicken meat or a can of black beans, and you've got a salad, there's a meal, and on I could go with that. So is there a benefit to this in emergency preparedness? Absolutely. Don't be afraid to try some of this stuff. Even if you were to start out with a small bucket, a 5-gallon bucket and some potting soil, try to grow some stuff and see what works. Do a little research on what you can grow in your area. This is not as technical as people think. It just requires arming yourself with a little bit of knowledge about your growing zone and what works in your area. Nurseries, online, you can get all that information readily today, so it takes all the mystery out of it. Hey, if you appreciate the content that we provide in today's video, hit that like and subscribe button down below. I know everybody says that in every video, but it does help out building the channel with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, remember, get ready so that you and your family can succeed and thrive.